try to get a little bit greedy, which we all do. Everybody.
I'm looking at $1 million on this trade. You pay that back, and you keep your house. If you don't, your collateral is your house. It's a fluke situation, right?
Uncommon to say.
Very backwards. Always want to go forward.
Hey everybody, it's Red Taylor here, and I've got a big old favor to ask of you. If you would, go down and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also please share this episode with someone that you care about. Man, that would mean the absolute world to me. You never know, it could mean the world to them as well. So thanks a million, and please enjoy the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Red Hot Read. And I've got a local guest today that I think you guys are just going to fall in love with. He's got a absolute phenomenal story of just a family man with a heart who has had some adversity in business. He's a serial entrepreneur, and he suffered some setbacks. He's learned from his setbacks, and he's kept going another day. You guys have heard me say it over and over again. No matter what happens in your life, just keep going another day, another play, another deal, another step at a time. Let me tell you about this guy's a real estate entrepreneur, construction CEO with a passion for helping distressed families through innovative solutions. As the founder of a company called Real Estate Rescue, Cody has successfully led his team to acquire, listen to this, over $20 million of properties in the past year and a half. He's a devoted husband and father of 5, and he combines his extensive industry experience with a strong commitment to making a positive impact in the community, providing a lifeline to those who are struggling and facing challenging times in the real estate market. I'd like for you to welcome our guest to the Red Hot Read, Cody Oakes. Welcome, Cody.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Red.
Yeah, man. Good to see you here. So let's get into it because when we were off camera, you were telling me, you said that's the real reason I started Real Estate Rescue. So, brother, we put the brakes on it right there because we got to get this story authentically and organically on camera for the audience. Go ahead and just tell us, what is the real reason behind Real Estate Rescue?
Well, there's multiple, but what really pushed me into pushing Real Estate Rescue as hard as I have, or as hard as I made the commitment to start pushing very hard, and this is why. So I'm a founder, CEO of BlackRock Construction, which is a construction company of mine, and I had made some money on some projects. Then I had some cash sitting around, and what had happened was I said, well, you know what, I'm going to look at some books, look at some YouTube videos, and I'm going to start pumping money into the stock market, right? Because, the whole idea of it is they tell you, you need to be in the market, right? These financial investors, Warren Buffett, diversify. They tell you where to put your money at. If you're not in, then you're losing money, right? So not everybody is Wall Street and not everybody is hedge funds, right? So I took about $70,000 to $100,000 the first time, and I invested. And I honestly thought I was becoming the Wolf of Wall Street. Oh, yeah. I had turned $70,000 into almost $500,000 in the course of 3 months.
Okay.
And statistically, I had no losers. I was day trading. And from what I was reading and what I was seeing on Google statistics, which, that's probably false information. But to do that is very, very, it's a fluke situation, right?
Uncommon to say.
Very, very uncommon. I mean, I'd be with my wife, and honestly, I was looking at it as, wow, this is so amazing. I was basing it off of a rule that I created, which was a 2% rule. Okay. So if I could take my money, if I could take $70,000 and make 2% that day, I would close out my position, and then I would redo it the next day, right? Okay. And if it went over that, that's great, right? Yeah. And if it went under, then I would sell out really, really quick to just get out and minimize my losses. So we would go to Florida. We'd be in Key West. We'd be in Italy. We took a trip to the Bahamas one day, and I made $67,000 on a trade.
Nice trip.
Woke up one morning in Florida, Rosemary. I know that you guys like to visit there. It's one of our favorite places, 38.
Yes.
And I woke up one morning, and within 30 seconds, I had made $27,000.
Wow.
Closed out my position. Yeah, I could have made more. Could have made 50. I also could have lost it, right? And so I had created, 70. I had turned 70 into almost $500,000.
Wow.
And I started getting ahead of myself, and I started playing. So at that time, I was only longing or I was only shorting the market, right? Depending on which position that I wanted to go in and which stock it was. Well, Lululemon, I felt was very highly overvalued, and I took out a butterfly call put option actually.
I'm not going to ask you to tell everybody.
Yeah,
what that
and
is.
I'm not going to go into details, but basically I was betting on it to go up, and then I was also betting on it to drop significantly. This was before earnings. So in options, you have an expiration date. And my expiration date, my options were expiring that Friday. So I already sold out on my call because it did what I thought it was going to do. It went up, and now I was waiting for the drop, right? Well, there was something that I wasn't aware of, and I didn't know, and that's called inflow outflow. It's basically the amount of volume that's in one individual stock, right? So SPY, there's tons of people that are putting money into SPY.
Huge volume.
The Apple, Tesla, all those, right?
Whales.
Well, but Lulu is not one of those, right? So I basically had, I think my broker told me 60% of the cash was in for that week was through me, because options are completely different. And I made a huge bet. Basically, the bet that I made would equate to $11 million.
Oh my gosh.
If it was buying regular stocks, right? So,
and you didn't know.
Well, I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know inflow and outflow.
Okay.
And I didn't know that this is what I found out very, very quick. There's money makers or market makers.
Okay.
So basically, it turned into a fraud. And you know, will the SEC ever look into this? No, because they know who these players are. It's Citadel, and pretty much what happened is they saw that I had to exit my position. So I'm waiting on this thing to drop, and for every $1, Red, that it's going to drop, I'm going to make $45,000 to $50,000. So I remember I told my wife that I see that this thing is going to go to 330 down to 308, 305. It may even touch 300.
Okay.
So I'm looking at $1 million on this trade, and I went big on it. I went big on it, depending on when I exit. Right. And that's for me to figure out.
And this is all within a span of a few days, a week. What?
This is I took the trade out on Monday, and I had to my options expire on Friday.
Okay.
So gotcha. I have to exit.
So
I have to exit this position.
Right.
Man, my heart was pumping. I was down 160. I was up 30, down 200,000, up 40,000, 50,000. And I'm just waiting, for this thing to drop. And finally, it started dropping. And I only have like 20, 30 minutes to exit out of my position here. And it drops down, I'm up 167,000. Not what I wanted.
Okay.
But you know what? I have gone through absolute, excuse my language, hell this day. So I decided, okay, I'm going to sell. And I sold quick, and I sold at market. Instead of setting a limit and selling out for what that limit was,
okay,
I pressed the sell button. I'm just getting out. I'm exiting.
Right.
I've already gone through it. And all of a sudden, I see 167 turn into 80, turn into 40, turn into a huge loss. And my heart sinks. And I'm just like, well, what? Wait, what just happened?
Because you thought you were getting out at 160.
Yeah, I thought I was getting out at 167. And so basically in lines, this is why, I gave you a silver coin, something that I invest into.
Yes.
I like to
Yes.
invest into tangible physical assets. You're welcome.
Yeah.
And the stock market is anything but that. So I called my broker. I said, man, you got to tell me what just happened. And he told me, have you heard of inflow outflow? He said, basically they saw that you were the big whale, and they knew that you had to exit your position because they have all the data right there. And so they dropped it a little bit. When you sold out at market rate. So they held it. They changed, basically internalized, changed the numbers, changed the contract amount, and they just took my money. Is exactly what happened.
Wow.
So 3 months of turning $70,000, $80,000 into almost $500,000, not having a loser. I literally lost $250,000, $300,000.
Oh my gosh.
Which was devastating.
How long ago was that?
That was a little over a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So
Let's talk lesson real quick, because I think at a high level, a lot of folks couldn't. I don't necessarily understand all of the terminology that you're using and the functionality of it. But at a high level, if we just break it down, say to a third grade level, which is where my mind operates, as a day trader, you had discipline. You had a win and you had a loss set every day, 2% win and whatever your loss was, and you were going to get out there, and you were being successful with it.
Very.
Day in and day out, you were taking trips. You guys were living a really good life, doing that. And then almost you tried to go big. You tried to get a little bit greedy, which we all do. Everybody 100%. Can relate to this, okay?
100%.
Everybody can relate to this, how everything's going good. We're experiencing success. We're riding the wave. We're on cloud 9. And so we go a little bit more. We want a little bit more of it, or we want a lot more, and bam, we all get smacked by life, by reality. That if we would just have stayed disciplined, stayed to the plan, stayed to the process, we could have probably had a little bit more success. But I think that's probably the true life lesson out of it that I'm hearing.
It was a life lesson. It, you learn. I try to learn by other mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Global financial collapse. I take note. I'm observant. I came from a very poor family. So, when I have, that amount of money sitting there, I don't ever want to go backwards. I always want to go forward.
Sure.
And I'm not a greedy person. I just knew that stock was going to drop.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about it is,
no, you had
within 5 minutes of me selling out, I was holding up that whole trade. When I sold out of my options, which it doesn't have an impact on the stock, right?
Yeah.
So if you hold normal shares and you sell, it could, and it's not, because you're talking trillions of dollars in the market, right?
Right.
Your little, 200,000, 300,000 is nothing. It's not even going to move it a penny, right?
Blip. Yep.
So but when I sold out, they were holding it up because they knew I had expirations, and it was a lesson, man. I mean, it was a hard hit. The fact that they can set those up, and those money makers saw that and they changed the numbers, was a lesson to me, saying, okay, listen, you messed up here because, I went over leverage. I bet way too much. Mm-hmm. And the other part to that is there's unrealized gains. The unrealized gains come into the effect of, we're going on vacations, we're spending money because I know that I'm making all this other money.
Right.
Money that I may not have spent. But hey, I'm waking up every day and making minimum 5,000 plus on my trades, right?
Right.
So what that did was, it was devastating, and it was uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable, actually. And the way that I am, my whole life has been uncomfortable, and I almost like to be uncomfortable to help myself grow. Sure. And to push myself. I don't like being in comfortable situations, because when you're comfortable, you're stagnant, you're complacent. So at that point, I basically had put almost not entirely half, but I had put half, and I still made money, right? So it's not a boohoo situation for me. But it was a lesson, and I decided to put 100% of my money and my focus at that point into real estate. And this is how Real Estate Rescue was born, because if I wouldn't have had that, then I may still be teetering, in the stock market. It's quick, it's easy, it's good liquidity. Real estate, you have to sell it, So even though you have all this real estate, you still have to sell it, or you have to refinance it to be able to get that cash out. So what I did was...
Hey everybody, Red Taylor here, and I wanted to remind you that if at any time you're interested in shopping your health insurance or life insurance rates, my team of experts work for my viewers for free. So reach out to us, click the link in the description at redtailorinsurance.com, and we'll go to work. We'll see if we can save you a ton of money and upgrade your benefits. If we can't, we're going to tell you, hey, stay right where you are. What you have is working, and we're happy for you. If things ever change, let us know. So reach out. We're happy to help. Enjoy the show.
I called up a couple of my buddies, and I said, hey, because we're general contractors, and because, I've done a couple rehabs in the past, 2 only.
Couple of
5
flips.
years. Yeah, two flips with my dad, right?
Yeah.
Not anything big, and not anything that I really even focused on. It was more kind of like a side thing. I didn't really have the passion for it at the time. So I bought a lady's house at the courthouse steps. They told me, don't go to the house until you receive the deed, which could take 60, 90 days.
Yeah.
This was a year and a half ago, and I was worried about the market then. So I was like, well, I'm going to the lady's house today. So I went to the house. I knocked on the door, and I let her know. I said, hey, I'm sorry for bothering you, but I just bought your house. Do you need me to set up a dumpster? Do you need me to, get you a moving company? Because I wanted to flip that thing as quick as I could.
Yeah.
Get in and get out.
Where you were coming off of a break, you just suffered a death in life. And let's go back there real quick, because I don't want to bury the lead there, because I think there's so much value in if we can, okay?
Yeah.
Because I want everybody,
It's just painful to talk
about.
about.
It is painful. Yeah, I get it, brother. I can see. Listen, I can see your energy change as you were going through the wins. As you were as you were explaining the wins, the daily wins, the trips you were taking, the vacations with your wife, and how much you were ahead, and you
couldn't tell me anything.
You were doing discipline. Oh yeah, you were disciplined. It was working. Your plan was working, and then your whole demeanor. It's painful. You lived it, and you keep reliving it. But let's go back, because I think the story is you said you grew up poor. Nobody's ever given you anything. You've got how old are you now?
39.
Okay, so you're 39. So you've got 5 kids. Your wife. You got 5 children, young children, right? How old are your children?
I've got a 11-year-old, 10-year-old, 6-year-old, and 2 18-month-old.
Okay,
twin boys.
So at this time you basically have newborns. So and you're a serial entrepreneur. You're letting it all ride. You come from a background where you've been in sales. You've been a hustler your whole life. And you go from being on cloud 9 to losing a few $100,000, so to speak. Okay. And that has to be
$250,000.
Let's just say $250,000. Okay. A crap ton of money. Okay. All right. Y'all hear me? $250,000. I don't care who you are. $250,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what happened then? So you suffered that loss, and somehow, some way, you were able to get back in the game.
I closed my account out, and
okay.
The next week I told myself, what is done is done, and I'm gonna have to make that money back up. Because in my mind, even though I came out ahead, I still lost. You know? I could have taken that money and done a lot of other things. The opportunity cost that was lost right there was significant, and there was more money that was lost too from unrealized money. That spending, going on vacations. So at that point, that's kind of where not real estate rescue was created, but that's where I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to invest into things that I can physically hold, that I can physically touch, that I can physically see. That's why it's so difficult for me to be one of those that, I do have some Bitcoin, I do have cryptocurrency, and I have stocks today, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not a day trader. And nor,
investor.
Yeah, I'm an investor. I'm an investor. And it's, I think I could still do good at it. And I learned a big lesson. You know, I learned about inflow, outflow, and I learned that you don't go into those positions where there's not a whole lot of volume. But I made a commitment to myself to not do that again, because that could have been that could have been even more devastating than what it was. Because if it would have continued and they would have allowed the contract to even drop even further,
oh wow,
then that could have wiped everything out that I had put into there.
Okay.
So I basically took what was left, and I reinvested it into real estate.
How much was left?
Approximately 200,000.
Okay.
Yep.
So fast forward, because this is the story. So you basically took $200,000, and to date you've turned it into $20 million real estate
probably a little
transactions.
Yeah.
In a year and a half.
That's right.
Okay. So that's the story, and that's why you're here. Because in life we have opportunities, brother. Let me tell you something. You're gonna suffer setbacks. Okay, everybody is. They may not be $250,000 setbacks, or they may be $1 million setbacks. I don't know, but we're gonna suffer setbacks. And the beauty of it is, just like this book by Ed Mylett that I've got here, The Power of One More. Okay, I recommend this to anybody. It's my message. He wrote this book for me, I think. Okay, because this is all I am. I came from nothing, and all I know is I'm never gonna quit. You didn't quit. So many people would have quit. So many people would have given up folded up the tent, and they'd be working at Carl Black Chevrolet right now. Okay. Because you have a background in car sales, right?
That's right.
Right. So many people would have said, the hell with it. I'm done with this stuff. Honey, I'm no good at this. And beat themselves up, spent the rest of their life kicking themselves in the butt for the mistakes that they made, which is what so many people did. But you took the loss and you turned it into a victory. You turned it into a lesson. So let's talk about the real estate rescue. What is real estate rescue, and how are you able to take $180,000, $200,000 and turn it into $20 million worth of transactions in a year and a half?
It's quite incredible, honestly. And I couldn't have done it without so pretty much to go back. I knocked on the lady's house and I asked her, I told her, hey, look, I just purchased your home and you need a dumpster. Do you need a moving company? Because I'm trying to get in there and rehab it as quick as possible and sell it. I thought the market was going to drop 2 years ago. Yeah. So she told me that she lost her house because she opted into a forbearance. And this was something that came around pretty big when COVID happened. The government had mandated what's called a forbearance. So basically the mortgage companies were regulated to offer this forbearance. I actually opted into the forbearance. When COVID hit, I called to make my mortgage payment. And they said, hey, Mr. Oaks, it looks like you've got a payment, but you can just opt into this forbearance. You don't have to make a payment. And then we'll just figure it out on the back end. We'll remodify it.
Oh, yeah.
I said, yeah, that sounds a little bit too good to be true for me. I'll opt into it for an insurance, right? If because we just signed a couple $1 million in contracts, and I was freaked out that they were going to pull it away, right?
Right.
Because that was a very scary time for everybody. And so I opted into it just for insurance purposes. I made every single payment like I was supposed to, but a lot of people didn't.
Right.
And these are people who this lady had lived there for 27 years.
Oh man.
So you got to think, you got a 30-year mortgage, she only owed like $40,000. She was only behind 20 grand. Yep. She lost her house to me as an investor, and she told me her story, and I said, wow.
That day, walking up, knocking on her door, she told you her story.
She told me her story. She welcomed me in, and I hate the definition of this word, but I am an opportunist. Definition, it's not makes it seem like a burglar, like looking for an opportunity.
Sure.
But an opportunist to me is, looking for an opportunity to be able to capture. And I saw that as an opportunity as, wow, okay, so what if I would have came to you and I would have offered you the $180,000, She goes like, I never had that opportunity. I wish somebody would have.
So is that what you bought the house for?
I bought it for 180.
Okay.
Yep.
That day. And so the exact same day, you left the courthouse, went to the lady's house, knocked on her door, and had a conversation with her. And it's obvious to me that had a profound impact on you.
It did, because what it showed me was we take over deals through creative finance and Sub 2. A lot of people don't know what that is, but a lot of people are figuring it out because of today's market. Basically, all that means is I'm not going to take out old debt. I'm not going to take out new debt for old debt. So a lot of these deals that we go into, they may have a 3% rate. Red, you take out a mortgage in 2020, 2021, you got a 3% rate locked in, you're behind on your house, right? $20,000, $30,000. So what we do is we come in and say, hey, look, what is your situation?
Right.
What's going on?
Yep.
So you fell behind, you want to keep the house, and you just need a loan. That's what Real Estate Rescue does. We'll give you a loan.
Okay.
And we have terms and conditions that you have to pay back to us. You make sure that you pay that back, and you keep your house. If you don't, your collateral is your house, right? So you lose your house. So when we go into these, we let everybody know, look, this is very serious, right? So when we give these loans, because I came from a finance background and a sales background, I actually vet these people. I'm not setting these individuals up. Yeah, I'm underwriting them. I'm literally seeing what their proof of income is, what their proof of funds, how much money they make each month, how much they pay out, and I'll let them know, hey, this doesn't make sense for you. And if it doesn't,
you don't have the additional $1,000 a month to pay it, right? Or whatever.
And the great thing about it is that I think people respect it, because if I can't do the deal, then I'm not going to do the deal. Yeah. Because I don't want to. Real Estate Rescue was built off the idea of help, right? Mm-hmm. To be able to serve, to be able to protect. Our government's not doing it, right? Our counties aren't doing it. Our states are not doing it. So we come into it with an idea, hey, look, this is a second opportunity for you. You know, there is bankruptcy, but I think bankruptcy is like a 70-something% failure rate.
Yeah.
So you miss one payment, that's your Hail Mary. You know, it's horrible. You know, we already have Big Brother watching every move. Imagine putting a board of trustee or a trustee in front of your accounts. They know everything. They see everything. You're only allowed a certain amount of credit cards. You know, it's
control.
It's not a good thing to enter in when there's other opportunities out there, right?
Yeah.
So we come in and we say, hey, we can give you the 30. You know, we work out our loan agreement back, or if you're not a good fit, let's figure something else out. My company will sign for these people to get into a new house, corporate housing, because that's a problem. You know, these people's credits are ruined.
Right.
We open them up a credit card, $25,000 line of credit that they receive. They don't get the credit card, but they get to piggyback, just as if you're signing for your daughter to help build her credit, piggybacking. It's just an authorized user. Then we do that too. We try to think of every strategic way to be able to help these individuals, versus me just coming and giving you $50,000 to walk away.
Taking your
well,
house.
that's great, but you can't go get another house because your credit's ruined, right? So we partner up with moving companies. We'll pay up to $1,500 of their moving expenses. So we try to set these different tools and these different second chance opportunities to be able to help these individuals.
So, okay, so we've got a whole system in place now with Real Estate Rescue. Really what Real Estate Rescue is it sounds like to me, is they're a lender more, more than anything almost. And so let's go down to, because so many people are going to be interested in this, like, how do you find these people? How do you find the people you mentioned off camera earlier that you met with a doctor recently who was a little upside down? How are you finding, are you at the courthouse steps all the time, or where are you finding your customers? You guys are knocking on doors.
We have public, so all this is public information. Whenever someone's going into a foreclosure, you can pull it up. Anybody can pull it up. So we reach out to
county records.
Yeah, county records. Yeah, and we just go to them. We go to the house and we let them know, hey, my name's so and so. I'm with Real Estate Rescue. Sorry for bothering you, but it looks like your house is going into foreclosure. Look, we're not trying to buy your house. You know, if you want to sell it, we'll take it. Right.
Right.
We'll buy it from you. You know, but we offer an opportunity that nobody else is really offering, for you to be able to stay in your house and for you to be able to protect yourself and your home.
Okay, so when you do that, and I just want to get into the nuts and bolts of this thing, man, because I find it kind of fascinating. I love the fact that you guys are because to me, real estate, in any business transaction, I'm a value add guy. Okay. The reason that you and I are sitting here talking today is because I want to create value to whoever listens to this. Absolutely. And that's what I told you to begin with, that no matter what we do today, I just pray that God knows it ain't about me. Hopefully it's not about you. Hopefully it's about whoever listens to this today, and they get the message, or maybe we see somebody that needs this help. They need a rescue. And so when we go into these deals and you're reaching out to the person who's in a tough situation, they're facing challenging times. How is Real Estate Rescue making money when we don't buy a house at a discounted price?
So we make the money off the loan.
So the terms on the loan, probably not very, obviously, well, look, it's a high risk loan.
It is. It
Yes.
is. It's situational, right?
Yeah.
And this is why, because
but it's high risk either way going in.
It's very high risk for us.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. You know, if this was a market of 2020, 2021, 2022, I mean, look, you're putting up houses that were selling, 30, 40, 50 grand over price, right?
Yeah.
Right now we're not in that.
Yeah.
We're in the decline of that, right?
Right.
Federal Reserve pump money up, markets go up. Anytime that they do that, all assets go up. Now everything is moving down, right? Other than deflation, inflation, but gas, but housing is coming down. It's re-regulating, right?
Yeah.
And we don't know where that's going to stop.
Pre-pandemic levels.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's not there yet.
It's not there yet.
Yeah.
So we are risk on, and obviously, we're here to be able to help individuals, but like I tell any customer that sits down with me, I let them know, hey, look, if I lose $100 grand on your house, if you're selling it, if I'm buying it, or if I give you the loan and you just decide to default, then I have to come in, I have to renovate the house, I have to fix the house. In today's market, you know this, you're in real estate. It has to be pretty much 100%. It's not like it used to be because the rates, people are looking for, they don't want to touch the home.
Yeah.
So we come in and we do a full renovation, and we have to list it with agents, and we have to pay closing costs, and we got holding costs, and we got cost opportunity loss, right?
Yeah.
So we try to make it as favorable as we can, depending on the terms. But I've done 15-year terms,
Oh, wow.
to try to help. Now, if you're coming in for a $300,000 loan, I'm probably not your guy, right? Not saying that we won't do it, but it's all circumstantial. I don't have, I tell everybody I don't have, a set of guidelines. It's based off of mine and your conversation and what your wants and your needs are. And then I'll take that, I'll evaluate it, I'll underwrite it, and then I'll give you a couple different options and see what we can work out. So we're obviously in the business to make money.
Well, I think anybody, I had an old man tell me a long time ago when I first got into business, I actually walked into his office at an appointment. We had, an insurance appointment. This was 20-something years ago. And he had been, business for a long time. And I remember just like it was yesterday, he had a picture sitting right behind his desk, just one of those little black picture frames. And it just had it's typed out. It said, a business that doesn't make a profit is a dangerous place to work. So
scary.
That taught me, I've never, ever forgotten that. And the goal of business is to make a profit.
100%.
So if business doesn't make a profit, then business can't be transacted going forward. So I get that. Now, let me ask you this. So we're in, basically in the Atlanta metro area. Okay. And there seems to be a huge need for this type of business type of service down in South Florida.
Yeah.
Right now. Okay. Do you guys have plans on expansion?
We do. I've actually bought a house. I bought it in Orlando, in Kissimmee, Reunion. It's like on a golf course, beautiful home. We're using it as an STR. But every state is different, as far as the loan side. So obviously I have to get an attorneys involved and figure out what the legality sides of them are. And I think in the state of Florida, I think there's a 12-month right of redemption. So if you buy a house through foreclosure, they have 1 year to come back and buy it back, which is fine because you whatever that interest rate is, you set on top and you make, right?
Sure.
Which is going to be better than the SPY or anything else that's out there. So, we are, I like proof of concept. I also like to use my own money. I don't like to use other people's money in a sense, not right now. Or at the beginning I didn't, because I don't want to ever have the guilt of losing someone's money. And because I am the way that I am, I'm smart enough individual, and I'm determined that I can figure things out. And if I'm taking the loss, I can sleep at night. If I take a loss for someone else, then I won't feel very good. So I always like to proof of concept everything first before I kind of open it up to other investors. And trust me, we've got UGA guys that are, wanting to come on in and invest with us. We have another business that we're one of the top 100 fastest growing car washes in the Southeast, maybe in the United States right now.
Oh, wow.
That we're investing into as well.
Okay.
So there's a lot of opportunity in Florida. I am very worried about the market. I do see, a lot of drop, and it has to drop, in a sense, because of how much it went up, because of how much money got pumped in.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of waiting it out and seeing what's going to happen next year with these commercial mortgage-backed securities and seeing what kind of effect that's going to have on the overall
looking an
market.
awful lot like 07, 08.
Yeah, so they're just commercialized, instead of
Give them different names, maybe.
Well, so basically, like 07, 08, they took these mortgage-backed securities and they packaged them as A+ bonds, sold them out to investors. But the thing with 07 and 08 was that they were lending to people who had 500, 550 credit scores.
Yes.
So what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
You're bound to. You're just asking for a storm, right?
No money down.
No money down.
125% cash out mortgages. I remember.
It's a bad debt
Yeah.
to people who don't pay their bills on time anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Stated income.
Yep.
All that kind of.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine. He was he He worked for Domino's as a delivery guy.
Stop.
Went and got his license during that one. Was making $300,000 a year. Everybody was making money.
Lending.
Yeah, doing
Okay.
lending.
Yeah.
100% underwriting. So and I knew what kind of person he was. So I could only imagine who he has given loans to. So I wasn't paying attention back then. I was young. I was probably 19,
Sure.
18 years old, 20 years old, somewhere right in there.
You just paid attention to this guy that was working at Domino's. Now
I just
he's
knew
making,
how.
Now he's
I was
making
like,
$300,000.
Yeah, I was
right?
like, dang, brother, how
dang.
you making that much money?
Yeah,
I know
selling
he
drugs,
was. He was
man.
actually my roommate for a while.
Yeah.
So, so those mortgage-backed securities, that was a global financial crisis. And now, with the stimulus money, with the Federal Reserve pumping trillions and trillions of dollars out there, these commercial mortgage-backed securities are also coming due. So a lot of the people don't realize is that those are on a 5-year, right? So every 5 years, those are getting refinanced. So if you're going in and, the Federal Reserve is giving you 2-3% loans, and you're buying commercial real estate and you're buying mortgage or multifamily real estate, well, if you're making if you got that spread gap, you're making money. But when that 3% then goes up to 7 or 8 or 9, when you refinance it, you're underwater at that point. So I think that there's a lot of things that are going to come due, and who knows what they're going to try to do to fix it or just kick the can down the road. But I know that things have to re-regulate. So I'm trying to stay in the Georgia market. I know the Georgia market. Now, if I knew people who knew the Florida area, I had real estate agents, I had good attorneys, construction crew, we can always send our guys down because we cover all the Southeast. So that's not as big of a deal, but just knowing that area, and that's kind of where, we don't know that area right now. And I don't know where it's going to settle.
You've got some pretty recent history in that, right? So go with what you know, go with what's working, stay disciplined, and stay true to the plan until it's absolutely time to make those different moves. Is really one of the things that I've learned. I've got a little bit more length in my teeth, a little more age on me. So, and what we hope and pray is that as we get a little bit older, we have a little bit more experience, we gain a little bit more wisdom, we learn more, we're able to discern more, we make better decisions, and that we put those mistakes, that have happened, we don't necessarily put them in the past, we keep them with us because we can learn from them. And one of the keys is that we don't continue to just kick ourselves in the butt because we made mistakes. I think humans as men, really, we have such a tendency as winners and entrepreneurs, as guys who want to achieve, is we have such a propensity to beat ourselves up for the mistakes that we've made in the past. It's obvious that you're not doing that because you're back in the game now and going full force. As a real estate expert, let's talk about it, because real estate's a huge topic right now. We're in an election season. Obviously, the political landscape is just so volatile. I think our economy right now is in a volatile situation, and real estate is a huge topic. What is your viewpoint on real estate right now? Where do you see it going, or what do you see the future looking like?
Well, I'm scared.
Yep, worried.
I am. I see a lot of things that other people don't see, or take account of, right? So, for example, there's a lot of veteran loans that are about to be foreclosed on, but because they put the mandates in, you can't foreclose on VA loans. So those haven't been brought up yet. They're just being kicked down the road because of Biden. So basically, you're behind 20 grand 2 years ago, and then they extend it for another 6 months, and then it gets re-extended. So now all these foreclosures are just piling and piling and piling.
And you're talking specifically VA loans.
These are VAs, but the other problem is that a lot of these, which could be potential foreclosures, aren't hitting the market because you've got private equity groups that are going in behind and buying the paper. So. And then what they're doing too is they'll do like a cash for keys. So we actually have another company called Rock Hinge, where we do that, where we go and buy mortgage notes, and we get it in for a discounted price. But nobody wants the 3% or the 4%. You're not making any money off those. Mm-hmm. So so they're called scratch and dents. So if you've opted into a forbearance or you're falling behind, they label them as scratch and dent notes. someone who's not making their payments, or they regularly miss their payments and then catch it up. So they're risk, right? But because the market is still up, there's still equity inside the home. So they're just contacting these individuals and saying, hey, Red, why don't you just sell me your house? We'll take it over. We'll give you cash and we'll just get you relocated, get you out of the house. So those haven't hit the courthouse steps. And they're not, so it's not showing on data where people really are. And the VAs have been kicked down the road for so long that when that ball drops, that's going to be huge. If you see the data, right, they say foreclosures are still down, which is true.
Yeah.
But when they rip that Band-Aid off, it's not going to be true anymore. It's going to spike very, very quick whenever they decide to do that. So
you believe that the American homeowner, the American real estate market is heading into a deflationary
I think system? I don't know if you can really necessarily deflate real estate. I think what's going to cause real estate to drop is inventory, right?
Yep.
So if there's a flood, if they find a way to keep kicking it down the road, then no. Because if they drop rates, then the idea of rate drops is now inflation for real estate, right?
Right.
So it depends on what this next administration is going to do. If they're going to figure out a way to not publicize these foreclosures and maybe have a private equity group come in or multiple private equity groups come in, I don't know. That's it. Now, if they put them all on the market, then yeah, there's going to be an influx in inventory, which is going to cause properties to drop. In foreclosures anyway, like when you run comps, right? There's a house in our neighborhood that sold for super cheap because they were going, and I knew what was going on because I saw the list, right?
Oh yeah.
And I knew that house was in distress and they were about to lose their home.
Right.
So what happened is the house is worth $600,000. They sold it for $425,000. Well, now that is an active comp. Now you can dismiss that comp, right? Right. But then what happens when more and more foreclosures start popping up? Now
it drives the values down.
So there's a lot of those happening, and I just had a situation. I'm not going to name the name or the brokerage, but it was there was a house in Bridgemill that was listed for $850,000.
Bridgemill is a very nice neighborhood.
Yep. Beautiful area.
Atlanta suburban area. Golf course.
Yeah. I just played on it. Yeah. I just played on it last week.
Basically on a lake.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah.
It's a really nice area. Go ahead.
Yeah. Very beautiful area. And they listed the house. I believe originally they listed at $900,000 and then they dropped it down to $850,000. So good for these homeowners. They were being proactive. Yeah. Not a whole lot of homeowners going into foreclosure are proactive. They're reactive, if that.
Well, am I true? And just put a pin right there, because this is what I've noticed over my years is that a homeowner, okay, a family man, right?
Right.
A mom, okay, people that are responsible for their family, and they, the real American, every man, every woman, okay, they will hold on to their house longer than they will anything else. They'll let the cars go. They'll let the flat screens go. They'll let the credit cards, whatever. But that house, even though they're drowning in it.
It's psychology.
It's psychology, isn't
it? We're programmed to either fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is when someone's at your front doorstep,
fight,
trying to take what you have worked your butt off for, and something that might not even be your fault. And if you think about this,
security of their children as well, and it's their security, right?
If you think about this, opting into a forbearance was very misleading.
Oh,
and a shame on the government.
Yes,
and the shame on the mortgage companies, because what they pitch was, you just refinance it, or we just remodify it, make it very easy, right? So you're a family man, and you opt into this because you think that you're making a good decision for your family.
They tell you
you're saving another $2,000-$3,000
a
month for a year or two. Hey, that's a win all day.
You don't
right?
want to sign up for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now here we are in September of 2024. Okay, credit card debt is at an all-time high.
Yep.
right? Credit card interest rates are at all-time highs. Personal and family debt is at an all-time high. Personal family savings is at an all-time low. It's right at 3%. Credit card delinquencies are going at the 60, 90 days are at all-time high.
Subprime car loans,
Vehicle
all-time high.
loans are at all-time. Delinquencies are at an all-time. The price that people are paying for a vehicle is at an all-time high. So now that that family in 2021 during the lockdowns, they're in the tough situation. They weren't able to get, make as much money. Their family was in a bad situation. The government comes along and says, hey, Red, I know you've got a $3,500 a month mortgage payment, but why don't we just not pay that for a little while? And 6 months, 8 months down the road, we'll just figure it out. You can start paying it again. I'm like, yeah, let's go, And so now the chickens are coming home to roost.
It's a very messed up situation. It's a disaster. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for, so I really started educating myself in 2020. I never paid attention to economics. I never followed the market. I really didn't care, right? I just kept my head down, focused on me, right?
Yeah.
And my family.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, you're dealing with some crazy stuff, and it's putting people at a very, very high risk. Inflation. The fact is that you're able to, when you go and get a loan, you got to get an appraisal, right? So you get an appraisal, and you're buying it based off the appraisal that the bank has given you.
Yes.
So, but then all of a sudden, 2-3 years go by, and that house that's worth $500,000 is only worth $350,000. You are a slave to that home. To pay a deficit of $150,000, also you're upside down. You're underwater. So there's the good thing right now, and this is what I can tell anybody. And look, at the end of the day, if someone gets those houses pulled off, they take a loan or they're able to figure it out, that is a win in my book, right? It is. It doesn't. We are not the last choice. We are a choice. But if you got a friend or a family member who will loan you the money, go to them.
Stay in your house.
Stay in your house. Absolutely. But people who, and I see this happen, and I walk these individuals through this, and I see it. It's like when someone's knocking on your door, they're trying to take your home, you're going to fight, right?
Yeah.
But when we go in, we try to give them the overall picture and let them know, hey, look, this probably doesn't make sense because in 3 months, 6 months, you add another $1,000 a month onto the debt that you already have. How does that really look? Mm-hmm. You're just buying time right now, right?
Yeah.
Most cases.
Yeah.
So with us, we can relocate you. I have other houses. I can owner finance to you. And it's just a second chance opportunity. We can put you into an apartment because in a year or two, I might not be able to do this because right now there's equity in these houses. But what happens when there's no more equity and the economy drops out, right? You're in a very, very bad situation. So it's ego when it comes down to it. Sometimes it's good for a second start. It's good to, you're also dying inside.
Yeah.
Because of the stress level that you're at. And I've sat down with who used to be multimillionaires who made $500,000, $1 million a year. And I'm over here saving their houses from them.
Yeah.
So for me, it's very humbling because I see it and I live it almost every day, where I see, people that are losing their homes and they're going down on the ship. And it's like, man, let's turn this thing around. But they have to make the decision for themselves.
Right.
So they need someone like me. Like if your business is failing, right, and you're in it because you're in the storm, you don't see it. But if you get someone from an outside perspective looking in, the numbers are the numbers.
Yeah.
And this is what are we going to do to fix it? What are we going to do to correct it before it gets even worse? Right. So we're not a financial advisor. But we do try to help educate as much as we possibly can and get these people. But anyway, back to Bridge Mill, right?
Yeah.
These real estate agents, guys, look, nothing changes for you. You still get paid. You get commissioned out. All we are is another tool in your tool belt, right? So we had this real estate agent. I messaged them. I'm not going to say he or her, but I messaged them. And I let them know, hey, look, my name is Cody. I work with a company called Real Estate Rescue. It looks like you guys are dropping the price of the house, even though the ARV is $900,000. And I know why.
ARV stands for what?
After repair value.
Okay.
Right?
After repair value.
So after repair value, and I see why you guys keep dropping the price because they're in distress and they don't have a whole lot of time. Instead of dropping the price, we can come in, we can put a little bit of money into the property, and we can catch their loan up and give them time to sell the house for what it's worth. $900,000 home doesn't sell as quick as a $350,000 home. So, maybe they need 3, 4, 5 months, right? So we'll come in, we'll catch up the house. We'll make the payments for them if they need us to, right? Mm-hmm. We get paid back. They'll close with our attorney. That's one of the only stipulations, and we have a second that we go on deed or whatever, however we decide to structure it.
Right.
She read the message, no response. Added them.
The owner or the agent?
The agent.
Okay.
Added them on Facebook.
Okay.
And I see where they read the message, no response. They drop it down to 825. I send the message again. They read it, no response. They drop it down to 725 read.
Oh, man.
So what they're doing is they are messing themselves up, they're messing their brokerage up, and they're messing their homeowner up.
Yeah.
Because there's a time that this house is going to foreclose. We can stop that today by giving them a loan.
If it forecloses, everybody loses except the new person that buys it.
Well, guess what? It foreclosed. And it sold for $600,000. I couldn't, I still can't, like, I can't like understand or justify why you would just not have a conversation or pick up the phone and have a call with me. Right.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you saying? Like, you can give us a loan, like, ask some information, guys. I mean, look, the market is shifting, and we're not the choice for everybody, but we are a choice, and we do help. And we just had the same situation with another agent, same type deal. We gave them the loan, and he was about to sell the house for $800,000. He just went under contract for $1.15. Two of the same scenarios.
Sure.
One utilized us, one didn't.
Yeah.
The homeowner, what really sucks the most is that homeowner missed out.
Right.
On a lot of money.
And you feel like it's because they were getting bad advice from their real estate agent.
I don't think the real estate agent ever said anything to them.
Didn't even.
I don't even think they acknowledged it at all.
Yeah.
And it's just a slap in the face.
Yeah.
It's a slap in the face to the brokerage. It's a slap in the face. She lost money because if you sell at 900 versus 700, you're still making way more money, right? So I don't understand it. It's kind of mind-boggling to me, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that we all know that there's a lot of people in business that are out there that are short-sighted, lack vision, lack intelligence, lack the ability to go out and help people make good decisions because they have either self-interest only and it's all about me, or they just lack professional knowledge in order to help advise their clients. So let's talk about, as far as the funding that you're able to offer these folks. Are you a business that are you accepting private funding from to help you guys out, or are you still using all your own money?
At this time, we've been using our money, but we are looking. The thing is that I like to be on touch on everything, and what I mean by that is I like to have my own money invested because of that sense of urgency.
Yeah.
So any deal, and this is kind of what I was telling one of my partners, like, if we're going to do this, if we're going to open funds, then we're also going to be contributing to that. The good thing about us is that it's not an issue as far as finding crews or having guys to do it, because we're a GC company and we have plenty of these guys, and we do it on other properties, other projects, fire claims, flood, whatever it is, right? Multifamily.
So you're running a separate general contracting business as well.
That's right.
Okay.
So we have all the resources.
Yep.
My only thing is just making sure that, and look, this is something that, I feel like everybody should respect on is, if you gave me $100,000 to focus on this real estate deal and I've got $100,000 focused on my own real estate deal, it is human nature to focus on yours first.
Sure.
Right. So the whole idea to this is when we open funding, we're going to make sure that we're focusing on everybody's, because our money is invested into these as well. And I think that comes with systems too. So we're at a point now that we're growing, and we've grown so much that we're able to start hiring superintendents and PMs to make sure that, as soon as that house closes and as soon as they're out, we've got a dedicated crew over there to go ahead and start on it. And it's when we take, the other good thing about this too is that we became a preferred vendor with Home Depot. So we've got a lot of huge rebates that also go towards our investor side, or will go towards our investor side, where we're getting anywhere between 20 and 50% off on some things that it's kind of mind boggling.
Yeah.
Every time we get those numbers back, I'm just like,
Wow.
geez, we hit the lottery.
Yeah,
there.
right. Yeah.
So it's big.
That all matters.
It's very big. It does. I mean, it goes to the bottom line. So
Yeah.
I think, we're in process of talking about it as far as private funding goes. So yeah, I think, probably within the next three months is when we're going to start opening that up, because we have some other things that we have to put in place first before we do that.
So yeah, that sounds exciting. It sounds like you guys are poised for some really good expansion and growth in the future. Let's bring it back to a personal level real quick. And because suffering such a setback, and having a young family, what have you learned about yourself? What has this taught you, as far as introspection on how to help your family, how to help your children, how to help your wife? How does all this, how can you bring this back to the family?
There's a couple things. I had a crazy childhood. So I've always been able to rely on myself to be able to make it, and get through these storms. So, the quit is not in my DNA, almost to a fault. In a sense, I'm very risk on. Like I was high, like I was a gambler, right? So I hear an opportunity, I see an opportunity. When I started Real Estate Rescue, I didn't have any business cards. I didn't have any shirts. I had a sheet of paper, and I went and cashed in $100 bills, and I would leave $10 at the door, and I'd write on a sheet of paper, "If you want more of this, please call me." And that's how I started it. And that's kind of how I've started every business, is if I see something, I don't know it, I'm not one to, obviously I educate myself very well, but I educate it through experience. I'm not scared to dive in head first.
Yeah.
Right. And go bankrupt, I guess you could say. I've bring in people who ask a million questions, who needs shirts, who needs this, who needs flyers, who needs everything, 6 months training. And that's not what we are. We just go and we do it. Right.
Yeah.
So with my family, more educational risk, right? I've dialed back a little bit, because of that was a huge loss, and it made me realize that, easy come, easy go. And so I got to put in the hard work, gratitude, grit.
Yeah.
I know that we have, and just wanting we have done very well in our company. Money doesn't drive me. It's, building something that's good for everybody. And, money is just a tool at the end of the day. People put money at such a high place, and it's great, but it's great for growth. I'm not out here buying, Lamborghinis, and, obviously we like to indulge we love going on vacations. That's what we like. Enjoying time with our family.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just want to grow. I want to grow something big for my kids. I want to grow if they decide they want it. If they don't, then that's fine too. But I enjoy real estate. I enjoy helping others, and it's been a fun journey for us.
Yeah, good. Where do you see the future? Do you have a 5-year, 10-year plan? What do you see the future like? What's the goal?
So right now we change we're kind of waiting to see how 2025 is going to play out. It's all going to be based off the market, to be honest with you. So our whole goal is to eventually get into multifamily and commercial real estate, and residential too, because that's kind of like the base. That's the foundation of our.
Well, that's where you
right
can
now.
help people. That's
where
where
we
you
help
can
individuals.
families
That's right.
and
Where we can create
Yeah.
wealth for people who are wanting to invest. The crazy thing is we don't have to rely on money to grow us. Our growth is in our ingredient, is in me, as in Hector, as in Stefan, as in the people that work directly with real estate rescue. That's where the value's at, because we're going and putting in the work, and we're going in and putting in the grind.
Yeah.
You know, having money is great, you
Yeah.
know, but there's huge opportunities in this, and there'll be very, very big opportunities. And you know, when we're taking over 3%, 2% interest rates, and we can owner finance, that's huge.
Yeah.
And we're giving other people opportunities to relocate into these houses. And, you know, we started a nonprofit organization that's called By the Door. The whole thing about that is we're trying to eventually get funding from corporations to offset tax liabilities to start building true affordable housing.
Sure.
Because if it's spent from someone else, just give it, man.
Yeah.
Just give them what they need. You know, give the single family mom,
Right.
you know, who
Right.
doesn't have a high income, that to have a nice house, you know, versus
Such a huge
being in a trailer. Or,
Yeah.
you know, the other thing too that people don't realize is that there's a monopoly on the rental market. And what I mean by that is these private equity groups are coming in and they're taking over the houses, but they're also taking over the data. So when you have software driven models, guess what? Those software driven models are monopolized.
Mm-hmm.
There may be other softwares, but they're all based off of the same algorithm and high rents, right? And making sure that they have 650 credit scores. Not everybody has a 650 credit score. You know, sometimes it's harder to rent than it is with some of these hedge funds than it is to actually go out and buy.
Yeah, so let's break that down real quick and give you my understanding of it, because I want everybody to be able to understand just in layman's terms what Cody's talking about. Is there's been a movement over the last 3 years, a pretty dramatic shift in the American rental market, where you've got huge corporations, private equity groups, hedge funds that are going out, companies like BlackRock, Vanguard, Berkshire Hathaway, that are going out and buying tracts of homes, and they're building new communities, new construction communities, and they're turning them into rentals. They're not selling the houses, they're turning them into rentals. Am I correct?
That's right.
And so in doing that, they're able to take all the data from, you know, the small mom and pop, the guy that bought a house, didn't want to sell it, just wanted to buy, you know, build another house or move to a bigger house for his family. And so he rents his house. They're taking all the data and they're inflating the rents, and they're putting additional requirements on what it takes to be able to rent one of their homes, i.e. a 650 credit score, 2-family income, you know, proof of it, all that kind of stuff. So talk about that a little bit, and what does that mean to the average, you know, middle American family, where mom's working a tough job making, you know, $35,000-$45,000 a year. Dad's working a job making, you know, $45,000-$55,000 a year. They're together, you know, they've got 2 or 3 kids and $75,000-$80,000 a year, and they're busting it, man. That's real. That's America.
It is real. It is real. And
Or the single mom
it's
who's
honestly
working 2 jobs.
Yeah, it's a shame. There needs to be some things that are definitely changed with our local governments and the federal governments. You know, these private equity firms that are coming in and creating these softwares, there's checks that have to be hit, or it doesn't matter your story.
Yeah.
With me, there's a story, right? If I'm a local landlord, you know, you come tell me your story, you know,
Sure.
then I'm going to give it to you. They don't do that. They're software generated. It's got to hit this. If not, move on. They also make a lot of money on their fees. You know, whenever you do your application fees,
Oh, yeah.
you know, they'll put a low price out there but they won't rent it out until it hits 1,000 applicants,
Sure.
right? And $75 a pop, you can kind of do the math to see how much money they can actually make on those. So,
It's a good business model for them.
It's
Really bad for people.
It is, but you know, that's kind of the problem. I feel like with politics and these corporations is that if you're not in it, then you don't have any compassion, you don't have any sympathy, and you know, of course, we want to make money, right? That's what you have to.
Yeah,
you have to make money, but there also needs to be true help, and
Yeah.
that's why I say, like, you know, when you have a nonprofit that is getting funded by offsetting tax liabilities and not paying Uncle Sam, and you can put it into, a company like By the Door, who can then go build, tracts of townhomes and give true affordable housing. I think that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And not just looked as a number or a shareholder.
Yeah.
Because their job is to make money for their shareholders, right? So there's a big problem for affordability, and we want to do something to tackle that, at least in our local market.
Yeah, I love that, man, and I tell you, a lot of folks have negative or skewed perceptions about folks who are in this type of real estate or real estate agents or what have you. I think that the heart of real estate rescue is part of a solution to a really, really big problem, and I'm absolutely pulling for you. I want you guys in the audience, if you or anyone in a family member that are in the Atlanta area, metro area, if y'all have somebody that's going through challenging times, reach out to Cody at Real Estate Rescue. I think do you guys have a realestaterescue.com or?
Yeah, it's realestaterescuepodcast.com.
realestaterescuepodcast.com. He's got information there that goes step by step the process, and then I think he's accessible on Facebook and all the other socials at Cody Oaks. So, man, I appreciate you being here today. Hopefully you've enjoyed yourself, and hopefully we've created some content that's real value for you guys. Until next time at the Red Hot Read, I'm Red Taylor with Cody Oaks. Thanks a bunch. Go be great.